Okay. So when you tell the sellers, when you say that you've got sellers in your pipeline, these are were they cold leads? Were they people that uh, you know you were referred to you?
Um, One of them was a cold call. Actually, weird situation. She's kind of losing her husband, and I feel like everyone is going to be jumping on top of her. And I have been nurturing it for a couple months, and I'm trying to I don't know. I'm in that friend zone. I call and check on her and see how her husband's doing. He's in the hospital with COVID, and I feel really bad for her. I am her friend now, but I feel like she's been ready to sell her house, and I don't. There's going to be a ton of realtors jumping all over her, all of those nasty ones that come when they see.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else has any kind of suggestions around this, but I mean, typically with that situation, I would just kind of stay in that position and see, just kind of if there's anything that you can do to help. And of course, situations might change. And I mean, I'd venture to say that it's, probably getting her house in the market's probably not top priority right now since she's got a loved one in the hospital. But
No, I really don't want to, but I just want to make sure nobody else.
and it's, there's nothing you can do with that. You can't prevent I always say that you can't prevent other people from kind of doing what they do, right? The only thing that you can do, the only thing you have control over is how you occur to people and what you can do kind of for them, what you can mean for them. And so that's the only thing that you control right now. And if she really feels a connection with you and you've done everything that you could, then it's no problem. Then she'll choose to work with you or she won't. And either way, it'll be her decision. And you be okay with that without being attached to the outcome. But I would say, as far as a strategy, just handwritten note cards are nice and things too. And those kinds of moments, some passive or just kind of reaching out, see if there's anything you can do to help, or if you find any information for her, and just kind of staying on their mind. That's all you can do really at this point. But yeah, I don't know if anybody else has anything else for that. If somebody, you're following up with a seller and they're kind of having, a loved one in the hospital, and, what do you do? Right. There's some people that are really, really good at that. Nobody has anything.
Nobody else has anything.
Yeah, I wish there was kind of like a dialogue around that. I would just say keep doing what you're doing, and don't. It doesn't help anybody to worry or be nervous about losing business. So the idea is that instead of being so attached to that one that you've been following up with for a while, just make sure that you're the person that that she's going to think of when she is ready, right? So that's all we can do.
All right, can I go for another one?
Go ahead.
All right, so I've got a seller. He's got a $3 million property and he's in Europe. He's kind of wanting to stay there, but he won't give me the listing. He tells me to find him a buyer. He's a good friend of mine. And I can't get him to sign the listing agreement so that I can actually market it to the right people.
This is a good one. I'm sure nobody else has ever heard this before, right? Does anybody have a good conversation or dialogue that they can do? And I think, I see Kevin popped on. I know he's probably got something. You guys want to role play this with Shannon, kind of show her, maybe a conversation that you might have with somebody that you're comfortable with. They're an absentee owner and they're telling you, just bring me a buyer. I don't want to sign anything, right? So, Kevin, you got something? Thanks for turning your camera on.
Yeah, let's give it a shot.
All right. So that's it. So Shannon, can you be your friend that's this homeowner that's in Europe that's got a very nice property to sell? Where is it?
It's a mixed use piece of land actually in downtown Fort Lauderdale.
Mixed use piece of land. So you can build mixed use property on it, downtown Fort Lauderdale. It's a good one. And so Kevin's your buddy that's, you've been trying to sell it. You keep telling him bring a buyer, so let's make it happen. Go ahead, guys, whenever you're ready.
Ring.
Hi.
Shannon, it's Kaywin over here. How are you? Been a while.
How are you? How you doing?
Hanging in here. You know how it is as usual. How's Europe?
Good. So
Enjoying your time over there, or is it just business?
Family.
Think your family. Awesome. That's great. I wish I was there. Straight up. Okay. I wish I was there.
Yeah, he
I was just, you broke up a bit. I'm just checking in. I know I've been kind of harassing you about this property, but it just worries me. Have you thought at all about maybe selling it, putting it on the market this time around?
there for me yet?
Do I
Yeah,
have a
you
what? I'm sorry?
Yeah.
A buyer?
Yeah, do you have a buyer for me yet?
Well, Shannon, you know how it is. I mean, I don't know. I may or may not. I'm not really sure if I do. The thing is, though, something of this value, I may not have the buyer, but another agent might have the buyer. Okay. The trick is that we have to bring that information out to that person. Okay. We have to bring that. They don't even know that you're even on the market right now. You understand what I'm saying? How is that buyer going to know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a buyer. Okay, I'll just keep looking, talking to my friends, seeing what I can do.
Who's your friend?
Oh,
Are they a
I've got
realtor?
my neighbor that's interested in buying
Oh,
it, and I'm a lawyer, so I could do everything on my own. I really don't need a realtor.
oh yeah, you're 100% right. You don't. What we bring is obviously just the peace of mind. Okay, you're an attorney. You're a professional at that. Did she go? Oh,
She's there.
she's frozen on my end.
Just go ahead and keep it going and we'll pick it up if she doesn't get in.
So obviously
go.
there we go. You're a professional and you're a professional. You're an attorney. You specialize in that. It's the same thing with real estate. Okay. We specialize on this side of the phone. We specialize on, the real estate stuff. Okay. That buyer, that neighbor that you have, has he even brought an offer? I mean, is there any activity on his end?
He's coming close, but not exactly where I want him to be.
Coming close. Okay. What's more important to you, Shannon? I know, we're friends, but what's more important? Is it time or is it money?
Money. I can
Okay.
wait. I just want to get what I want for it.
Okay. So then, I mean, if you can wait, by all means, I mean, wouldn't it be smart to just sit down with me? Maybe I can show you how we can get you that dollar amount that you're looking for. We could do maybe something via Zoom.
I don't know. Kind of busy. If you have a buyer, bring them to me.
You're busy. This is, and I mean, I know we're friends and all, Shannon, but could this be your biggest transaction ever? You don't have 5-10 minutes for that?
I just don't really.
It doesn't sound like you really want to sell then, Shannon. Maybe you should just hold the property.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. I could sell it. I'm here in Europe. I'm thinking I want to stay here, but if I have to hold on to it for another 10 years to make a few million more, then that's okay too.
So good. All right. So maybe you're right. Just hold on to the property for a bit. That's fine. Now, with everything COVID going on, they're talking about another Delta variant coming up. I mean, Jesus, what happens if you can't, rent out the commercial space? I mean, have you thought about that? Does that worry you at all, or?
Yeah, I know my land will just keep going up as long as I hold on to it. I could sell it now or I could sell it later.
Oh, wow. Do you have a crystal ball, Shannon? How do you know that?
Well, it's been going up since I've owned it for the past 25 years. So I'm sure the longer I hold on to it, the more it'll be worth.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. That's real estate. Like I said, I mean, I'm not here to push you, Shannon. If you want this to, I know you have a number in mind. If there was a way, and I believe that there is a way we can get you that number, right? Of course, it would be consisting of you and I working together. Then of course we can meet. But if you don't really want to sell, then maybe we just hold on to it, and I'll check back in maybe a month from now. How's that sound?
All right, sounds good. If you get a
All right,
seller,
Shannon. Good hearing from you.
Thank you. You too, Kevin.
Talk later. Bye-bye.
Okay. So it's a weird thing right now. What do you, how did you feel? How did you feel with that, Kaywin? How did you feel on that?
You know what, I'll try a couple times and then you kind of take it away from them and say, okay, well, do you even really want to sell? Maybe they need to come to that realization.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to sell it to a neighbor. They're not going to sell it to, oh, I got a guy. That's not going to happen. Okay. It's not going to happen. So you have to take it away from them and check back in. She may not be ready.
Yeah. It didn't say, it sounded like she was money motivated. Right. And, oh, I've owned it for 25 years. You know, like it's, maybe like shifting gears and find out, well, when you sell it, what are you going to do with that money? Right. So is there something that they're going to do with that money that's going to be exciting? I mean, if they owned it for 25 years, they're probably not a spring chicken. And I tend to tell people, hey, there's no U-Haul truck following the hearse. So why don't you cash out that property? Right now, the deal is too with people that, and she was like, bring a buyer. Don't you have buyers? Right. I mean, is this a special kind of property?
Very.
Is it unique with a unique buyer? So it's like, oh, you're an agent. Don't you have buyers? I've got tons of buyers, and they're all as a result of marketing for that specific kind of buyer from the properties that I've had. Right. So it's like, yeah, look, these, like, I've got a ton of buyers for waterfront condos. You know why? Because I just sold a waterfront condo and I had a ton of buyers. We had a bidding war over asking price. Now I got a whole bunch of them on a shelf waiting for another one to pop up so they can overpay for it. Isn't that what you want, Shannon? Aren't you looking for the buyer that's going to jump in there? It's exactly what they want because we've marketed specifically to that kind of buyer that's willing to go quickly and overpay for it. I mean, what would you do with that? What if you got an offer for more than what you were looking for? Right? So why don't you free me up to market the property specifically towards the people that are going to buy this kind of property, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Now, does that mean that you have to have a marketing plan? Yeah. So you can't go in there like every other agent. You got to show, okay, so here's the demographic of buyer that's going to buy this kind of property. And here's where I think they're going to come from, right? So we've done the research. It looks like they're coming from here. They're in this kind of business because this is a mixed use piece of land. So it's going to be somebody that's going to develop a mixed use property, right? Who's going to own that kind of property, right? So if we can have conversations, get into conversations, I would go deep into conversations with them about the type of person that's going to own that kind of property. Is it going to be an owner operator that wants to, open up a restaurant with residence above it? Or is it like something that's going to own and operate? Or is it going to be just a landlord that specializes in owning mixed use properties, that's bought them, that really likes this piece of land, that sees what's happening with the neighborhood? I mean, either way, this is a particular kind of buyer. Probably going to be somebody in a 1031 exchange position too, right? Mm-hmm. Which means that this is not their first purchase. This is somebody that's probably selling or in contract on a property, and they're going to look to buy something just like this. So why would it make sense for them if they know the clock is ticking? Otherwise, they're going to get hit with capital gains taxes. How are they going to find your property? If they're talking to agents that have properties like this listed. So let's throw the net out there and find those people, right? But it sounded like, if you keep going with this stuff, it sounds like This is somebody that's like, I got this piece, I'll sell it if I get my price, right? So I'll put it for sale.
That's what right away it triggered to me, one of those.
Yeah. So keep that conversation going, but good. I mean, I would never, look, if you had a buyer for it, of course you'd want to show it and get paid on it, no problem. But the fact of the matter is, it's like finding a needle in a haystack for just some random buyer to kind of cross paths with you guys that's going to be looking for a mixed use piece of land in South Florida. I mean, if you're really active in that community, it might happen. I know Kelly, maybe her wheels are turning. Maybe she's like, I got an investor that'll build something there. No, not even, right? But so that's the deal. But I mean, Shannon, how'd you feel on that side? You have a little bit, a little bit more of how you can have the conversation?
Yeah, I think it's bottom line, he's not really ready to go. I think I'm just nervous that he's been like holding it in front of me for the last year. Like, I can't wait for you to sell my property. So I feel like since it's in his mind, I'm scared that somebody's going to come in and take my biggest opportunity away because I'm not.
Tell me, well, listen, I'd be like, I can't wait for you to sell my property. Well, don't hold your breath, because all the properties I sell are as a result of my 16-point marketing program that you're not tapping into. So don't hold your breath. If I do happen to bring somebody in there, it's going to be an investor that I'm representing, and they're going to make you a low offer because they're going to be the one hired me and paying me. So I would just tell them, hey, don't hold your breath, right? So because and that's, when we were talking about it, what was it, yesterday, when I was saying one of my favorite scripts is almost like, here's how I work. this, right? And then someone says, well, can you do this? Well, unfortunately, I don't work that way. That's it, right? And then when you have the proof in the pudding, you're not chasing it around anymore. Like we were talking about it with Kelly, she's on the other coast, on the West Coast, she's got a listing coming in that was like a for sale by owner, but she sold one really quick for over asking price. So now she doesn't have to, she's just like, hey, I did this, right? So that's kind of, that's probably where you're at now. You're like, I don't want to lose this because this would be my first one to be the biggest deal of my career. But you know what? I would say in the meantime, while this guy's waiting for some buyer to cross his path, go out there and create your biggest deal, create one just like it, and go out there and go get it, right? And then you'll have this great story to tell. The proof of being a pudding. Did anybody have any commentary or any questions around that scenario there? And then we'll go on to another one.
Just that, like, that guy does not sound motivated. And I feel like following up is good, but like you brought up like being scared to lose 2 or 3 times. And I think that mindset is going to hinder you in getting a listing.
Yes.
Switch it around. You know?
It's an abundant world. Don't be attached to the outcome.
Yep.
Find the motivated. I used to coach a program called Find the Motivated, which is about, just like next. And when your world is that big, you're just like, don't, because worry is a useless emotion, doesn't serve anybody. But yeah, we'll switch that to being abundance. Like I said, now, instead of worrying about losing that one that you don't even have, go find one just like it, right? Maybe in your quest to find buyers for that property, you'll find somebody that's looking to sell a commercial piece that wants to buy his. And now you do a double deal, 1031 exchange, never list them, right? So who knows what'll happen? The possibilities are endless. So I invite you to create your own possibility out of that. What is possible for you? We don't know. And man, that's just exciting for me. I'll tell you, every morning it's like, man, I don't know what I don't know. And that kind of tickles me pink. Yeah, it's my favorite thing. All right. Any other scenarios? Do we have anybody that's, any other questions or comments around that, or another scenario that you guys want to workshop? We got 12 minutes left here. We definitely got time for one more.
So I have officially lied to my first FSBOs, 2 of them, got in the door, told them that I had a buyer. Of course I have buyers, just not specifically for their houses. I took a fake video of one and everything. And my client did buy something similar. She just never got that video. So I started talking to this lady that I've now based this relationship on a lie about, the potential of me getting her top dollar for her house. And she doesn't care about paying a commission. She's not a normal FSBO. She just doesn't trust agents. She had some really bad experiences in the past that people said they were going to do stuff that they didn't do. And I had a really quick, let me shoot you over an example of what I do. Every week on my listing, I send over a Monday update, and it's like, it takes me hours. It's super detailed, market summaries, everything that's happened in the neighborhood during the week. What happened with the showings, what happened with people that we haven't heard back from. Did they buy another house? And it's all in these. And I shot her 2 over really quick. So she knows, like, this is what I do. She didn't want to meet with me again. And the last thing I left her off with was yesterday or the day before that I shot her over these emails for her to review. I don't know what the follow-up looks like from here. Yeah. This whole thing is weird for me.
All right. So there's a few things going on here. I mean, and with for sale by owners that had bad experiences with agents, I mean, this is pretty common. So I love that. So whatever experience or negative thing that they're having, I speak right into that listening, right? So it's, do you want to role play this? We'll do like the follow-up call you're saying?
Do I even call? I just let her, she wanted to review them. I emailed them to her, and now I'm letting her sit with them and think about it. Her property's a little bit overpriced, and she's never getting a 55 plus. She's never getting what she's looking for without going on the market. I can get her close. No.
That's no problem. Yeah. So I don't even get into the pricing conversation until she's ready to sign a listing agreement. I mean, I always tell you guys that, right? Because it's, arguing about price when somebody has not decided to hire you or somebody doesn't make sense. So guys, right. Let's workshop this. If they had a bad experience with an agent, what might they be worried about? Agent.
I already talked to her about an easy out agreement. I just don't I don't know what the follow-up is. Like, I literally sitting with my examples now for
your follow-up is, yeah. So you talked about an easy exit agreement. So it was kind of like, hey, look, if I know you had this bad experience where people said they were going to do things and they didn't do it. Now I showed you all of my all the things of part of my service in writing, everything that I do to market and sell your listing in writing. Did you have an opportunity to look over that? Yeah. Did you have any questions? Awesome. Well, now I also, you were worried about being stuck in a contract. Now I also have an easy exit agreement. So if I don't do the things that I'm telling you that I'm going to do at any time, I'll release you from the contract. Did you have an opportunity to look at that? Did you have an attorney look at it for you? Right.
Oh, where do I get this? I just crossed something off on our listing contract down here in Florida. Do you have something formal for me?
Like an easy exit agreement?
Yeah, I literally just X out basically on the listing agreement, the whole clause that like you.
Okay, so my easy exit agreement was the list of services that I did, the things that I told them that I would do in the listing and marketing presentation that I signed for them. And there was some fine print there, which I'll give that to you after this. I'll email it to you just to attach it to your service agreement. And I had an attorney write that. That basically says, for an agreement of no less than 180 days, I agreed to do all these things that they have to, express their problem, within 10 business days in writing and blah, blah, blah. And then I'll terminate them and they have to pay me back the money that I've spent already and all these kinds of things. There's some fine print there, but it gives them an out. And that a lot of times made a for sale by owner comfortable enough to want to list, right? So your follow-up around this, because you've given her everything, first, don't just randomly call her. Maybe shoot a text or an email, seeing if you could schedule. When we schedule appointments to talk to people, even when it's on the phone, even if it's through Zoom, you don't have to meet again. They're apprehensive to do that. When's a good time for us to talk? I'd like to block out 20 minutes, whatever it is, to go over this stuff with you, see if you have any questions, right? So now you have something on the calendar. You have a point in the future where you're going to talk to, follow up with this for sale by owner, right? Did you have any questions on? Did you have an opportunity to look at, my marketing plan? Did you have any questions on that? Did you have an opportunity to look over to my easy exit agreement, right? My commitment to services, I used to call it, right? So you just go over all those things. And so, if like everything looks good and you're ready to put it on the market, saying, okay, well, what's preventing you from putting it on the market today? I mean, if I'm meeting all your needs, is there something that I'm not going over? And then that's almost kind of like, we're isolating the objection, going in for a little bit more of a direct close, which you're no stranger to, right? So that's kind of the deal. It's just kind of like, well, if I answered all your questions, you've really got nothing to lose. I mean, the next thing for us to talk about really are our price and terms, and we can get this on the market immediately, right? So what's stopping you, and just let them talk and see what really the objection is, but that's how you're going to follow up anytime I got stuck there too, because I did a lot of for sale by owners, and you'd go there and you kind of, give them everything, and you're like, man, that felt really good. And then all of a sudden they don't want to meet with you again. You don't know how to follow up with them. So just follow up with them. Did you have an opportunity to look over the paperwork? Did you take a look at my marketing plan? By the way, I wanted to share something with you. And then you could follow up with a testimonial here and there. You could follow up with some stats here and there. Like, hey, you know what? I just sold one in your community for, 5% over asking price in 3 days or whatever it is, follow up with stuff like that. That's really the best thing that you could do. Does anybody else have any suggestions with that? Our FSBO people. I know Kelly's built her business on expireds, so this is new. Does anybody have anything around for sale by owners? No. People are like, we don't do that. We don't call for sale by owners, right? So, hey, Walter, do you unmute?
I did.
Can you hear me?
Oh, Craig, I see Craig. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Craig. What do you got?
So I picked up a couple for sale by owners just by kind of focusing on their needs and kind of what they're looking to do. I had one for sale by owner. It took me like 6 months to finally get them. And when I finally got her to sign the paperwork, she said, the main reason why I went with you is you were more focused on what I needed than you were about your commission or what the sale was going to be about. She said every other agent who came in that I interviewed was all about their stats, what they're doing, what they can do for me, and how they can get me top dollar. Your biggest concern was what my needs were and what I needed to do with the property to get myself in a good place.
Yeah.
So she just said that personal touch was more important to her than any statistics or stats or anything of
Yeah,
that nature.
easy enough. You know, sometimes it's overlooked. And I think that's a good rule for every person that we talk to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good deal. Walter, did you unmute before? Did you have something to contribute?
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you guys hear me? Because I put you guys on speaker. Can you
We
guys
hear
hear
you
me okay?
perfectly fine. Yep, loud and clear.
So I've been doing pretty well with for sale by owners this year. Probably gonna do between 60 and 80,000 in GCI just from closing for sale by owners. And I've been working on this for a while, but the first thing I figure out is at what level of the listing process they're at, because if they're not ready to list and you're trying to ask for a listing or trying to ask for an appointment, you're just going to piss them off and you're going to get blocked. You're never going to even have a chance. So I kind of developed a system where, like, if they're not even interested in talking to you, that's like the lowest level. If they're then willing to do an open listing, I consider that like a level 1. Then if they're telling you they'll list with an agent sometime in the future, but they don't have a time frame, that's a level 2. A level 3 is when they tell you, look, I'm going to list with an agent in 2-3 weeks, when they give you a time frame. And number 4 is when they're like, I'm ready to list my property now. So if you have a conversation based on their level, you don't piss them off and you have a chance to build rapport. And it may take longer to get the listing, but the worst thing you could do, and I see this is the biggest mistake I see other agents make, is that they upset the FSBO. If you push too hard, you're gonna piss them off, and you're done. Right there, it's over.
Yeah, that's so true. You know, now we talked about it the other day, like, you know, the problem presentation, remember, kind of, they're not ready to be pitched for a listing when they just let you in their house because you said, oh, let me come see the house. I might have a buyer. They're not ready to be pitched a listing, you know? So I think in this case, you know, with Kelly, I think they might be starting to they're probably close to wanting to list and they're scared to talk to you again because maybe they want to think it over more. Maybe they want to talk to another agent, something like that. And, you know, like Walter was saying, being able to kind of discern where they're at in their process, like what were you able to determine? Are they just fishing for information? Have they been on the market a while? Are they really looking to sell? You know, they've had bad experiences with other agents and kind of just getting through all that stuff. I mean, because ultimately the ultimate underlying question is, if you can appease them and overcome all their objections and give them exactly what they're looking for, would they be willing to put it on the market with you, right? And that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Is, you know, answering that question, huh?
She wants to list. She said that. I have no time to do this. I don't want to market this myself. I just need to know where the market's at. Like, you know, no one's ever given me information, basically. No one's ever followed up or told me anything. Last time I had to do this myself, I had to fire 2 agents, and in 2 weeks I did it.
So every time you follow up with her, look for information on the market. Is there a new listing that came on? Did something go into contract? Did something expire? Did something close, right? Is there something popped up on Google? If you Google wherever that place is and real estate, is there something new to follow up with all the things that you shared with her? Just kind of hammering it home that, look, what's it going to take? What's it going to take for us to work together? I have no problem putting it in writing, giving you an easy exit agreement. You know, let's just, you know, I mean, I think you can see that makes sense for you to hire a professional like myself to get this thing done quickly and for top dollar. So just don't be scared with the follow up. You know,
Okay.
But you also don't want to squeeze too hard that they don't allow you to follow up again in the future. I had a friend that I worked with, Deirdre, and she used to believe that if you don't get it the first time you're there, you're never going to get it. And I called her Deirdre the Destroyer because she would go there on the first appointment and destroy everything. And then it would be impossible to get in the house afterwards, where I was more often than not, a 2-stop lister, where the first time I went there, I razzle dazzled them, and then they always let me in again. They took my calls. I was always calling with information, branded myself as the expert. I showed them that I knew what I was talking about. I was professional, and that I was courteous. But at the same time, if you can find that delicate balance of being courteous and assertive, that's a tremendous asset for you, right? At what point do you offer an open listing? That's what Shannon is saying. I think you're talking about like an exclusive, an open listing is if they say, if you sell it, we'll pay you a commission. And then you say, okay, well, fill out this form. And if I sell it, pay commission. There's another form of agency listing called an exclusive agency listing, which means that you are the only agent that can, if it sells through an agent, it comes through you, you put it on MLS, but it still gives them the right as an owner to sell it on their own directly without paying you a commission. I did those all day long because they never sell it on their own. So they'd be like, well, I have this and I put this, and I'm like, no problem. So if you listed with me today, I'm offering you the opportunity to continue to sell on your own directly to a buyer, not to an agent, while I put it out there also and sell to buyers and to other agents. Would you be willing to sign that agreement? And they're like, yeah, I'll go for that. And then the second they sign that agreement with you, they relax. So it's almost like they're, they just didn't want to feel like they failed themselves or give up. It's kind of like an ego thing, but that's how you want to conduct business. I mean, I would tell you, Shannon, that's more art than science. You got to feel it when you're there. Those are things that I have up my sleeve last minute. If like, hey, if we can get through that, if we can figure out a way to work together where you can hire me today and still sell it on your own without paying a commission, would you sign that agreement today? And they're like, yeah, tell me about that. So go ahead, Kelly.
Fort Lauderdale seller.
What happened?
I said, I think that might be good to offer my Fort Lauderdale sellers, since he thinks he has a couple people in mind that he wants to sell on his own. I think maybe that would be able to help me get something moving.
Pose it as a question. Anything you want to tell people, like, guys, I want to tell you to pose it as a question. That's going to be like, so for him, it'd be like, hey, hey, Fort Lauderdale crazy seller guy that's in Europe, if there was a way for you to still retain the freedom to sell it on your own directly to a buyer, and, you would, free me up to be able to market to other agents, would you be willing to work together with me on that? And again, if we don't generate a buyer, it costs you nothing, right? And if they say yes, then you go into it. Allow them to design it themselves. Kelly, we got a hand up and it's 9:03. So
1 second. So I had a seller in the past ask me when I brought up an open listing, can I leave it on Zillow?
No.
Okay. I didn't think so, but I was just curious what.
When I do an exclusive agency listing, I don't let them put a sign in the yard, and anywhere where I market it, I don't let them put it there. So if I market on Zillow, it can't be there. But if they market it on like forsalebyowner.com and FSBO websites, I'm like, yeah, sure, leave it there. No problem. Who calls them from those things?
Investors and agents.
Agents and investors that want to have a deal. No problem, right? So yeah. So anywhere, that was the rule around that. So we're not going to have two signs in the yard. We're not going to anywhere where I put it. Here's where I put it. Everything else is open season, right? Because you specialize in marketing to agents, really, right? And they're just going to market it directly to buyers. I actually, one time I had a seller that they generated their own buyer, passed them over to me and paid me the listing side still. Yeah. Home run, right? They're like, oh, I still want you to get paid, take care of this for me. I mean, the guy was a stockbroker and didn't want to deal with it, but awesome, guys. So thanks for joining us today, 9:04. Hopefully everybody will get to making live calls, and then maybe next week we'll have some new scenarios, some new things that you guys ran into. And thank you for everybody who contributed. Shannon, Walter, Kaywin, everybody. Kelly, thanks, guys. So if you guys have any questions or anything in between, feel free to shoot me an email, shoot me a message, shoot me a text, whatever. I'll be gallivanting around today because that's what I do on a daily basis. No problem, Stacy. So we'll talk to everybody soon.